right down to the front of the rim. He's too strong. He holds his ground too well. He's got great toughness.
Here's Jermaine O'Neal, acquired in February from the Pacers, misses his first inside shot. And there you see Al Horford, who can handle the ball. Very athletic Atlanta Hawk team. And there's Josh Smith missing, and O'Neal getting the rebound.
There are so many great matchups individually in this particular series. Obviously, Dwayne Wade, Joe Johnson, who you see against each other right now. But then Horford, who steps out and tries to affect Wade's shot. Horford matched up against O'Neal could be the key thing.
Wade misses, and Bibby into the corner. And a three-point attempt off the mark again by Joe Johnson. And there's the lob pass, and Chalmers trying to get it to Wade. Wade needed to be about 7'5".
Yeah, Chalmers a little bit excited out there, and a little bit too much of anticipation that Wade could jump over the backboard, grab it, and come back down again.
A little more than 2 minutes going by in the opening quarter, and Bibby on the trap by the Heat, giving it up to Smith inside, and off balance, getting the bucket. And the Hawks lead by 3.
We saw an early blitz that time by the Miami Heat versus the Atlanta Hawks side pick and roll. We'll see if that's something they do on a regular basis.
O'Neal is a high post, setting a screen, pick and roll, tipped away nicely by Joe Johnson on the turnover. 3-on-1, and Marvin Williams caps it. So defense leading to the transitional basket, and the Hawks open up a 5-point lead.
Let's remember, in playoffs, you use a different timeout system than you use during the regular season. You must stop play more quickly. You cannot allow the home crowd to get into it. You cannot allow the whole team to open up huge leads on you because it's too tough to catch up.
And Wade misses, and again Johnson releases down court, but misses the layup as Haslam was a distraction to him. Chalmers with the ball. O'Neal so far setting screens outside and gambling there. Wade going in. Josh Smith tried to gamble on him, and Wade finds Jones open and hits. James Jones with a 3 cuts the lead to a pair.
And that's what James Jones.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, let's wait.
All right, let's get real.
You were really good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Williams driving in against James Jones and gets the basket. Pretty move by Marvin Williams. He has 4 points, and Marvin Williams missed 16 games in March and April with a lower back strain, but he's back.
And he's got to get himself back into game shape as quickly as possible because of all that missed time. Wade faces up, hits the 3 from behind the downtown line.
And the score now is 9-8. You viewers that saw the Orlando-Philadelphia game, welcome to Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Game number 1 between the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, the number 4 seed, the Heat, number 5. Dwayne Wade in the spotlight, the star of stars in this series. And can Atlanta's athleticism overcome the amazing exploits of the top scorer in the NBA, Dwayne Wade? Mike Woodson in his 5th year leading the Hawks to their first winning season in 11 years. And right now, let's check out our McDonald's starting lineups. For the Miami Heat, James Jones, a surprise starter at small forward, started only 1 game of the regular season. And for the Atlanta Hawks, Marvin Williams back in the starting lineup, and that is the regular lineup that the Hawks have used to success this year. And a foul is called. James Jones not in the act of shooting. 12-8 in the early going. 3-point baskets by Williams and Bibby. Wade and James Jones have 3s for the Heat.
I think Marvin Williams, after missing those 16 games due to the back problems, comes out here early on fire. The concern of Mike Woodson, what would his conditioning be like? He's got 7 points already, 3 for 3, and he's done it in an assortment of ways, in transition, on the fast break, and behind the 3-point line.
And Williams will go to the bench, replaced by Maurice Evans, a veteran of many playoff years, who led the Atlanta Hawks in 3-point field goals this year. Jones hitting the free throw, and it's 12-10 now. Under 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. This is a best of 7. First 2 games in Atlanta, where the Hawks won 3 times against the Celtics last year in a surprising 7-game loss to the eventual world champions.
And you might be wondering, why would Williams come out and go for such a great start after only 5 minutes? And you see Joe Johnson with the strong drive to the basket. The reason could be conditioning, just what Mike Woodson's concerned about. Let him get a quick blow, get Evans in the game, then bring Williams back. Williams
missed 16 games in March, early April with a lower back strain, so he's just getting back into action. And the Hawks lead 14-10. They have led all the way in this game. Wade getting the return pass and the basket. And in the lineup early, Michael Beasley. And on the other end, the ball controlled by Evans. Nearly halfway through this first quarter, double team. And driving in is Josh Smith with a tough basket. Josh Smith with the basket, and the Hawks leading by 4. So Michael Beasley, one to watch, a rookie off the bench, second player taken in the draft. And Beasley, with his first shot of the game, misses from outside. So right now, Mike, the Heat are playing Mario Chalmers, the rookie point guard, and Michael Beasley, the forward.
One of the things you notice as we see Atlanta tee up another deep three-pointer is that an accidental foul that time. Josh Smith turns to run down the court and runs into Dwayne Wade. Miami's trying to figure out how they can get Horford into the pick and rolls. And what Atlanta would like to do is have Josh Smith be the guy who has to play defense on the screens.
And Josh Smith picks up that foul. We'll take a timeout. Early going, game 1 between the Heat and the Hawks.
Well, thanks a lot, Dick. It was interesting talking to Joe Johnson before the game, where he said, you know, Cheryl, it wasn't too long ago during a game, if I looked up in the stands, there was hardly anybody here. Well, as you can see behind me, that is no longer the case. I asked Joe exactly what he felt about the crowd and what they would mean throughout the series.
I'm anticipating a very hostile crowd. You know, keep it rowdy in here, and you know, just try to knock the opposing team, you know, off their wheel. And you know, it's going to be tough, man. Like I said, I think we feed off the crowd more than anything here at home. And I think that's what gives us that extra boost. But, you know, we got to take care of home first, and we'll figure it out on the road.
And what a great boost it was for the Atlanta Hawks. A surprise 7-game loser, and gave the Celtics all they could handle last year in the first round of this series. Beasley with his first basket of the year. Very impressive as Beasley coming on fast toward the end of the year.
Hawks 31-10 at home this season, just 16-25 on the road, so they took advantage of their home wins.
And they sure did against the Miami Heat as well, as Bibby throws it away, and here comes Dwayne Wade. 3 Hawks are back defensively, and so an open man and trying to save it, unable to do it, was Jones. So on the Heat turnover, Eric Spoelstra continuing to support his team, and amazingly, Mike, the Heat averaged only 82 points against the Hawks in the 4 regular season games.
Well, Wade played in only 3 of the 4 games. The one game he had 35 points, he exploded. But remember, that game Horford did not play for Atlanta. They changed his shots around the rim. The other 2 games, 21 and 21 for Wade. So obviously the size and length of the man affects it.
And a circus shot by Joe Johnson, who led the Hawks in nearly every category this year, and Atlanta has maintained his 4-point lead here in the first quarter with under 4.5 to play. Chalmers, crossover. Bibby got a piece of it. Out of bounds. And it will be over to the Hawks. Last touch by Miami.
Joe Johnson, the versatility to back you down, shoot it from the perimeter, or beat you off the dribble and finish around the basket. He's 6'6", 6'7", 240 pounds, has the strength and size for that 2-guard position.
So the Hawks with the ball again. Johnson guarded by Jones. Here is Bibby, who hit the 3 for the first points of the game for Atlanta. Misses this time.
Notice now, because Evans is on the floor, Atlanta puts Evans on Wade, gives Joe Johnson a little bit of a break defensively. Joe Johnson can go over and play James Jones.
And Mario Chalmers hitting the wide open 3, and the Hawks are going to leave him alone. They don't think he's going to be an offensive threat. And the rookie from Kansas brings the Heat to within 1.
You see, Chalmers in the game is a good matchup for Atlanta from the standpoint that they try to hide Bibby very often. People try to expose him with a lot of pick and rolls. Well, Chalmers is not one of the main threats offensively, so they're going to make him have to make plays. They're going to make him have to make shots.
And if he does, that's going to be a big plus for the Heat. Horford with a fake on Haslam, drives in and draws the foul. Very impressive is Al Horford, who Eric Spoelstra said, I watch Horford play, and it's like watching an 8-year veteran. He does things that Kevin Garnett does in this game, and underrated offensively, to be sure. There's the season series, and you can see where the Heat averaged 83 points a game. Foul was on Dwayne Wade, by the way, his first.
Well, two big categories that Atlanta completely dominated Miami. 85, okay, to 38 from the free throw line. Okay, that's points scored. They took 118 attempts to just 56 for Miami. And then fast break points, 55-26 for Atlanta.
Huge advantage there, no surprise. Flip Murray, a potent threat off the bench for the Atlanta Hawks. Real good scorer has come into the game. And Daquan Cook checking in for the Miami Heat. 3-point lead, Atlanta.
So if you wonder who replaces Chalmers when he goes up to the bench as the point guard, it's Dwayne Wade. Wade moves over now from 2 back to 1, but they play so much of the game with the ball in his hands. Anyhow, he's used to that.
Nearly 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Dick Stockton, Mike Fratello, Cheryl Miller, and here is Horford inside. And good defense. I'll tell you, the Heat's doing a good job on Al Horford early on inside. Here's Daquan Cook, and he misses a 3. Daquan Cook, who is the 3-point shootout champion at the All-Star game in Phoenix, but has kind of cooled off since that All-Star game.
Yeah, after the All-Star game, he took a downward turn as a result of that. His minutes were cut, and started questioning his shot a little bit. That's one thing he cannot do. He has to shoot the ball and make shots for this Miami team to have a chance.
Josh Smith gets an offensive rebound on Joe Johnson's miss, gets a second chance, and getting a piece of it there was Jermaine O'Neal. Good defense by the Heat.
Yeah, O'Neal affected it. He wanted to go all the way, but sure, O'Neal.
Heat gets the basket. Dwayne Wade, goaltending is called, and Dwayne Wade now with 9 of the first 19 points for the Heat. And it's again a 1-point game.
And this is how they affect Wade. There's that length. Horford, Smith, and even Williams all try to protect the front of the rim. They build the wall so that Dwayne Wade gets no clean look at the front of the basket.
Wade has not played. It's been a week since he had the career-high 55 points against the Knicks on the 12th. And he said he wasn't concerned with the layoff. He says, I'll shoot my way back to rhythm as the Hawks now turn it over. And with 2:06 to go, a tight first quarter with the Hawks leading the Heat 20-9. Dwayne Wade with 9. Marvin Williams with 7, the high scorers. Here, 47-35. 10 wins better than they had a year ago. We talk about the Heat, 28 games better, the best in the league. And there you see the playoff numbers of last year between these teams.
Let's face it, in Boston, you really felt there was no chance for Atlanta. You thought it was going to be a very, very short series, but credit Mike Woodson and his staff. They rallied the troops. Credit the players for believing that they could come back from that. They certainly did. It came right back home and won their 2 home games.
Jamario Moon has come into the game, and there is Dwayne Wade with another slam. He has 11 points. The Hawks now are behind Miami 21-20, and the first basket of the game was a dunk by Dwayne Wade, giving the Heat the lead, and they have the lead again by 1. And again, Jermaine O'Neal, a big presence against Horford. That could be a big plus for the Heat. Wade missing the jumper, and the rebound by Joe Johnson.
Good job that time by Jermaine O'Neal, protecting his teammate, making a rotation across the lane, and then he made it very tough to see the front of the rim.
Josh Smith guarded by Beasley. Beasley will play both a 4 and a 3. Power forward and a small forward is the plan by Eric Spoelstra. Johnson getting a step on Jamario Moon and gets the basket. Very tough.
You cannot take a defensive stance where your right leg is way behind your left leg, where you're standing more like a fencer rather than a basketball player, because you give the driver a straight line to the rim. Joe Johnson's too big and too strong.
Dwayne Wade 5 of 9 from the field thus far. And 9 points. O'Neal stepping back Pachula has come in the game off the bench. Healthy this year is Zaza Pachula's 6th year. Double team. Pachula is open and misses the wide open shot. So the Heat have the ball. It's been seesaw after the early going controlled by the Hawks, out of bounds, and it's off the foot of Dwayne Wade, goes back to the Hawks.
See a little bit of backcourt pressure as Wade tries to rip it through right there, loses control, hits his leg, out of bounds. Possession Atlanta.
Third time that Wade has turned it over here in this first quarter, with under 20 seconds to go and about 2.5 seconds differential with the shot clock. Here is Johnson, foul. And it'll be on Jamario Moon, his first.
Let's take a look at the stance out. As we watch Johnson face up, Moon now will drop his right leg back eventually. Stop right there. Right now is when he sees straight line to the basket. This foot has to move up a little bit more to level him off. He doesn't level him off, Johnson takes it right down the seam.
That was the 4th team foul against the Heat, so if there's a foul here in the waning 13.5 seconds, it'll be a shooting situation. Johnson guarded by Moon. And there comes the trap with O'Neal at the top. Murray to Horford. Top basket against Beasley. That's what Al Horford can do. And here's the final shot, and that'll do it. The Atlanta Hawks, to no surprise, locked in a tight battle with the Miami Heat. Only 4 games separated these teams in the regular year. But after one, in game 1, 24-21 in favor of the Hawks.
Well, Coach, if Dwayne Wade was supposed to be rusty, it really didn't show. Did you like the spacing in your offense? Looked like he had a lot of room to operate.
Yeah, spacing was okay, but we were a little careless. They had 5 turnovers.
Talk about defensively what you would like to do with Joe Johnson. What were you satisfied?
Well, it didn't look like we had many answers right there. He's going right by us. Just need to be better on the ball and earlier to help.
All right, thanks, Coach.
So a 3-point lead. Eric Spoelstra, the youngest head coach in the NBA at the age of 38. There's Ron Rothstein, who was the first Heat coach. And the greatest one-season improvement by a rookie coach was that man. 28 games better, and he had the best record for a first-year Heat coach, better than Pat Riley, who's been his mentor. Underway in the second quarter. Al Horford inside is fouled by Beasley. And Marvin Williams returns to the lineup, Mike, leading the Hawks with 7.
And a good job right now by Atlanta of recognizing the matchups that Miami has on it. That time, Horford was being played by Beasley. Beasley's not tall enough, not strong enough to hold Horford. So the Hawks go immediately into a post-up. He backs his man down, goes to the line for 2.
You saw Mike Woodson, who's in his 5th year as coach, as Horford makes the first. Zaza Pachulia remains in the lineup with Flip Murray and Maurice Evans. So Horford and Williams are the only starters who began the game in the lineup now as we start the second quarter. Udonis Haslem returns to the lineup. O'Neal, Chalmers, Moon in there as well, and Beasley.
Well, they actually just substituted and took Moon out of the game. And, you know, Dick, some of the things you can get away with during the regular season, like Moon was fine in the starting lineup because of his athleticism. He could run, he could get out on the break. When it gets to playoff time and people are ready for you, they expose certain things. He's not an offensive threat for them in the half-court area. They need guys that can make shots around Wade to enable Wade to see an open lane.
Not only that, he suffered the strained groin at the end of the season and missed the final 4 games. So he kind of limps into the playoffs as well. And Chalmers was the man who replaced him, guarded by Flip Murray. And Chalmers trying to work against the bigger Horton, who blocks it, but there's a foul before. He got the body, and Al Horford picking up his first foul.
You see Atlanta switching the high pick and roll, and the call was that Horford grabbed him with his left arm. Right there is the call, on his right arm, or as I was saying, right arm for the offensive man, left arm for the defender that time. That's where the official called the foul.
Mario Chalmers. Question is, how will he respond in the playoffs? He played on a championship team at Kansas in the NCAA title before he came to the Miami Heat. There you see Josh Smith coming in for Horford, who gets cheers as he leads. Want to remind you, coming up next, it'll be New Orleans and Denver, game 1. Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, and Mark Fine will be at the Pepsi Center in Denver for that one. And tomorrow it'll be game 2. The Chicago Bulls, a winner over the Boston Celtics. 4 road teams have won game 1. And that's the first time perhaps that's ever happened in the NBA. Nearly a minute gone by. Evans in the second quarter hits the jumper. So Maurice Evans, who started 25 games for the Hawks, and they're up by 6.
For 2 very, very solid pickups right at the last minute, beginning of training camp for Atlanta by Rick Son, the general manager. That brought in Evans, and they brought in Flip Murray, who provides offense for them. Chalmers
misses a 3, and it goes out of bounds. So the Hawks get the ball back. They're on an 8-1 run to establish their biggest lead.
Watch Zaza handoff, set the screen, which allows the penetration and an open look at the basket for his teammates. Pass, follow your pass, set a screen, make something happen for your teammate.
Daquan Cook is guarding Evans. Beasley on Williams. Blocks the shot. Beasley with a superb defensive play. And the Heat have really done a great job inside. And that was supposed to be an area where the Hawks might excel. Here is an open 3, and it's missed by Beasley. The ball is knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Heat.
And Dick, this is one of the few times that you've seen Beasley play as a small forward. He's a small forward here. And watch the defensive play on Williams, who's long himself, but so is Beasley long. So now the front line is a big front line for Miami. Beasley at the small forward, Haslam at the power forward, O'Neal at the center position.
There's Beasley's impressive numbers. Murray inside the Pachulia, triple teamed, out of bounds, and there is a foul. Haslam picked up a foul on that last possession. Nearly 2 minutes gone by. The lead is 6, and Pachulia on the free throw line. And Beasley now with his second personal foul. Came into the game early, did not start. And here is Pachulia, who bounced back from injuries last year. And a good offensive rebounder.
And he gets to the foul line. He's taken 230 free throw attempts during the regular season. He's a 70% free throw shooter, but he's very cute when he faces up, likes to put the ball down and go to his left hand in the end.
Well, Dwayne Wade, after getting the brief rest, comes back into the game. Wade is the leading scorer with 11 points for the Heat. And going out is Beasley. He also has 3 turnovers and has yet to go to the line. A good barometer to what kind of game Dwayne Wade is going to have is how many times does he get to the free throw line?
Remember, Dick, that's going to be something that we'll watch the entire evening because of the large discrepancy in free throw attempts during the regular season between these two teams. Atlanta more than doubling the attempts by Miami.
And here's Wade going in and getting the basket. The Heat had missed their previous 5 shots and had the drought for nearly 4 minutes. So 13 now for Dwayne Wade. Hawks leading by 6.
And you say, why so easy to the rim? Because Pachulia's in, not Horford. Horford up there blocking shots for him.
And so you can expect Wade to go in there. And there is Josh Smith. Now off the hands of Pachulia inside. Perhaps too hard of a pass. In any event, the Heat get it back.
Watch Wade almost walk his way to the basket. Carefully, trying to avoid the offensive foul. Pachulia's trying to stand there and take a charge. If it was Horford, he would have up there trying to block it.
The Heat strategy, let Dwayne Wade do as much as he can. He's not trying to get others in there. He wants to set the tone for his team. And here is Wade, who is fouled by Maurice Evans. The knee into the body. And that will be the second team foul against the Hawks. Mike Bibby will come back into the lineup for Atlanta. Bibby has scored 3 points, the first points of the game with a 3-pointer. And Evans goes out.
Dick, in the 4 games, Atlanta averaged just 14 free throw attempts per game. Now, if you want to shoot more free throw attempts, you have to put early fouls on your opponent so you get into the bonus more quickly.
O'Neal trying to reverse layup against Pachulia. And there's no question that the Heat trying to take advantage of the backup center in there, and he picks up Pachulia his first personal.
And it's also the 3rd team foul. So here now with 9+ minutes remaining in this quarter, both Miami and Atlanta both have 3 team fouls. So they should be getting into the bonus very early.
And no rush for Mike Woodson to get Horford back in there, not with a 6-point lead at this point. And here is Jermaine O'Neal, acquired in the trade involving Sean Marion with the Toronto Raptors in mid-February. It freed up a lot of salary cap money for the Miami Heat. Also gave them a presence inside. O'Neal with a lot of playoff experience, 70 games to be exact. and still only 30 years old.
Look, if you go back to the beginning of the season when you had this new young coach taking over the team, they started with Udonis Haslem as the starting center at that time. They were a very, very small team, and we see O'Neal missed the second one, and Eric Spoelstra, the coach, felt that we might have to play small this year. Be very small, press all over the place, run every opportunity, but eventually they evolved into the team they are now, also with a little help from a big trade.
And Murray going into a crowd, and a foul is called against Flip Murray, his first. No question about where the Heat stand. They make no bones about it, as Eric Spoelstra says, we're still coming together. They've tried a lot of different lineups. They have a lot of young players, as opposed to the Hawks, who saw what their young players did last year when they got into the playoffs with a losing record but carried the Celtics to 7. There's Pat Riley and his lovely wife, Chris, who is the president of the team and put Spoelstra in the job as head coach and has left him alone. O'Neal against Pachulia with 7 on the shot clock. Fall-away shot hits. Jermaine O'Neal with the basket to bring the Heat to within 3.
And that's why they went out and got Jermaine O'Neal, because if he can get close to being the old Jermaine O'Neal, you can take pressure off Wade. You can throw the ball to him for a couple minutes a game and tell him to go get your basket.
Pachulia trying a strong move to the hoop, does not convert, and here come the Heat down by 3. Nearly 4 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Pachulia with a good defensive play on the interception. 3-on-2 right now, and the no-look pass inside and the foul. Marvin Williams foul going in, and the personal will be against Cook. Will have a timeout. Not surprised at a hard foul in the playoffs.
No, you better expect a little contact on the way to the rim.
There is a leak in the roof here at the Phillips Arena, and they're toweling it off, and not sure if there's going to be any delay in the action. And now the brooms are going, and that could be possibly hazardous to the players, but there'll be no delay, and the play will go on.
I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Cheryl Miller.
Dick, let's go back and watch Dwayne Wade. From the beginning, they set a side pick and roll, trying to find a way to get to the rim, pass and cut without it. Movement without the basketball will produce a lot of easy shots for Wade, rather than always having to work for it off the dribble. Wade comes out 6 for 10 from the floor, 13 points. The rest of the team, just 4 of 13 for Miami.
As Wade goes, so go the Heat. That's nothing new. Shooting virtually even overall, the Heat at 44%. And the Atlanta Hawks at 46%. Marvin Williams, who is still the leading scorer for Atlanta with 7 points on the free throw line, had a solid year, starting 59 games and back into the starting lineup for this one.
Williams spent a lot of time in the offseason with their shooting coach, Mark Price, and one thing Price wanted to do was try and improve his range on his shot, because they knew they had to spread the floor more if he was going to stay out on the floor on a regular basis. And Mark Price, one of the great three-point shooters, great free throw shooters in the NBA, spent a lot of time and has really done an excellent job with Marvin Williams.
1 out of 2 free throws. Al Horford back in the lineup as Wade has his shot blocked by Horford. So the Hawks have their starting center. Josh Smith from Joe Johnson on a beautiful alley-oop. And the Hawks up by 6. Their biggest lead has been 8. 7:40 remaining in the half.
Got to see the ball in transition, or the ball will go right past your head. You have no ability to jump and get it.
Wade off the rim and out of bounds. And it'll be Atlanta ball.
Go back and look at the defensive play that started the whole transition opportunity. Wade going to the rim. It's blocked by Horford. And then when you don't see the ball, Jermaine O'Neal's back is to the basketball. They throw the ball right over his head for an easy catch and dunk.
Dwayne Wade picking up his second foul, and the Heat are over the limit. And Josh Smith going to the free throw line to shoot 2. He can match the biggest lead of the Hawks. Hits the first. TNT this July. Executive producer Jerry Bruckheimer takes you into television's most dangerous new world as an undercover cop in LA. How far can you go without going over? Don't miss the new series premiere of Dark Blue this July, only on TNT. And you can see the leak still affecting the fact that they have to mop up the water. The moisture onto the floor whenever there's a break in the action.
It's been raining on and off here in Atlanta during the day, and right now it happens to be raining very hard outside in Atlanta.
Good thing we have an indoor.
Yes, it's not an outdoor game tonight. You're right.
Taquan Cook inbounding it, throws it right into the hands of Williams, and the Heat committing a foul. And now the Hawks are revved up, as their crowd is, and Eric Spoelstra trying to calm his team down.
And what happens is Atlanta comes out and winds up putting a little bit of pressure, and Miami not quite ready for the pressure. They face guard, double team the man without the ball, and get the steal. Miami fouls in return.
It was Chalmers committing the foul, and Marvin Williams makes the first free throw. So a 9-point lead, and Williams can stretch it to the first double-digit lead of the game. The Hawks led by 3 after 1 quarter, and now it is a 10-point lead. The Hawks 37, the Heat 27, and Eric Spoelstra wants the timeout. Take it to the crowd as we take it to a break. So the Miami Heat trailing by 10. Atlanta has had 3 significant scoring spurts, 7-0 early, and then 10-1 spanning the end of the first, beginning of the second, and now 7-0 again. Dwayne Wade driving in and no one around as he gets the easy lay-in. 15 for Wade.
And that was a 1-2, meaning point guard, 2 guard, pick and roll that Miami came out of the timeout, well executed by the team. Atlanta wasn't ready for it. Mike Woodson wanted him to switch. They didn't see it.
Bibby inside to Johnson. Joe Johnson now with 8 points. But the Miami offense needs to pick up. Remember, 82 points they averaged in the 4 games in the regular season. In the last 7 minutes, they've had 3 field goals and 3 turnovers. Beasley back in the game. Hits the jumper. Michael Beasley in the last 5 games averaged 24 points and 11 rebounds for the Heat.
Whether or not it's because of the thumb that was severely injured, Haslam has no points right now, just 3 points from Jermaine O'Neal. So who's going to help out Dwayne Wade in putting points on the scoreboard?
There's Smith, and it'll drop in. Beasley did a good job. But Josh Smith now in double figures with 10 points. And again, a 10-point lead as we approach the halfway mark of the second quarter. Beasley again from outside. And here comes Bibby.
A little too quick that time. Beasley felt it because he had made his last shot. But that's not a good shot for the team.
That is, though, for the Atlanta Hawks as Bibby hits his second three-pointer. He had a horrible regular season against the Miami Heat as he hit 7 of 31 from the field. He's come out a lot stronger here as the Miami Heat strong here lately. And there is Haslam, and he gets his first points of the game.
And that's what he can do. If you put Haslam in a pick and roll, you're looking for him to step back into the open pocket, 18 to 20 feet. He makes that shot.
Johnson hemmed in. Wade out to Smith, wide open. Josh Smith tipped away, and that's the athleticism that the Atlanta Hawks have, except they did not maintain possession. Chalmers picked up the ball, and here's Wade against Joe Johnson. What an individual do. That is, it's off the way, and Bibby loses his footing. He was not tripped, and Chalmers saves it into the hands of Josh Smith and a foul. What furious action we're having without a basket being scored all around midcourt.
The people are on their feet right now, just appreciating all of the action. Wade loses it, gets control. Bibby strips him. He's on his way. But in the meantime, Chalmers gets his arms up, deflects the ball. He saves it right back to Miami once again. And then Haslam eventually winds up committing the foul. You see Chalmers with the terrific save as he's going out of bounds.
And this is just game 1 of the playoffs, and game 1 of the number 4 versus 5 seed, expected to be a long series. And so with Haslam on committing the foul, Josh Smith hits the first free throw, and the Hawks now with their biggest lead of 11 and 5 minutes remaining.
If you remember back at the 9-minute mark, I said both teams have 3 personal fouls, and they should be getting into the bonus very early. Well, here's what happens. This is where it pays off, where you wind up going to the line, hitting 2 free throw opportunities because you're in the bonus.
And the lead is 12 now for the Hawks. James Jones, who started back in the lineup for the Heat, along with Dwayne Wade, Mario Chalmers, Michael Beasley, and Udonis Haslem. And a timeout called, trying to stop the bleeding. This is a 20-second timeout called by Eric Spoelstra. There you see the pluses on the side of the Atlanta Hawks as the Hawks bring up the ball with under 5 to play. So Atlanta's had the edge in every area. Biggest, of course, the scoring. 45-33. Whitney trying to get it to Josh Smith. And now the Heat have it. Wade to Chalmers. And Chalmers on the 2-and-1 break. We haven't seen many fast break baskets for the Heat so far.
Well, actually, for Miami, who could really use some fast break opportunities, they finally get out and get themselves 2 points in transition.
Turnovers practically even. Side John and Haslem. So it's a Heat trying to come back. Wade gets it back, defended by Flip Murray. Three-point attempt by Beasley doesn't go. And the over the shoulder line by Mike Bibby brings the crowd out of their seats. And Smith with 14 points now, 10 here in the second quarter. Again, the lead is 12. Wade pulls back, he'll fire a three. And here's Murray, ahead of the field is Josh Smith. Slams it through.
The reason that happens is the jump shooter is Wade. He was in the middle of the floor. When he fell down after shooting the jump shot, there was nobody back to cover the backcourt for Miami.
Timeout called by the Heat.
Go back and see Mike Bibby spot. Josh Smith lays it perfectly in front of the rim for the catch and finish. And now, when Wade falls, nobody's back. Smith emphatically throws it down.
What a high wire act. An all-star, Joe Johnson, the face of the franchise. They ended 3 opponents' win streaks of 7 games or better. 47 wins, the most since 97-98 when they won 50 games. And they've increased their win total each season since the 2005 year. So the Atlanta Hawks and Mike Woodson, and of course what set the tone was that great series against the Celtics last year. Chalmers will inbound. Chalmers, O'Neal, Beasley, Dwayne Wade, and James Jones for the Heat. Johnson defending against Wade going in, and Wade not to be stopped is fouled. Here is the record for Mike Woodson in the last 5 years. And the foul is on Johnson, his first foul. And it is the 4th team foul against Atlanta.
And you see the steady progression, and you know, congratulations to the front office and ownership of the Atlanta Hawks and staying with Mike Woodson. They understood way back 5 years ago that they had a long way to go. It was going to be a steady process of adding the right pieces, drafting correctly, making moves through trades or free agency. They've hung with the guy. They must have liked what they saw as far as his teaching abilities and decision making. So slowly you see the results taking place to where they get to 47 wins this year.
1 out of 2 for Dwayne Wade, and those were his first trips to the free throw line, which a Dwayne Wade game is going to the line double figures.
8 seconds, I'm pulling on the win. Game clock was. The game clock on the last
round. With the clock right now, the officials over at the scorer's table.
Scott Foster.
8 seconds. 8 seconds.
Put a couple of seconds back on the clock.
13-point lead. The Hawks had it raised to 14. And Foster explaining to Mike Woodson, and seems to be more upset than the fact that a few more seconds may be put on the clock. It was an 8-second violation. Though it was time, they didn't get the ball across the court. And the Hawks will have the ball. But the Hawks have the ball. And then they're saying no violation. Is it still raining?
8 and 17 to me is 25 seconds, not 24. It's old math, I know that, but
Old math is good math. Flip Murray with the jumper scores. So Flip Murray, thread off the bench, a great spark. His 4th postseason with 4 different teams, and a 15-point lead by Atlanta. That's their biggest lead with 2:45 remaining in the first half. The Hawks have dominated the young Miami Heat. Beasley driving in, and it's blocked. And it looked like Johnson had it. Horford was there as well. Right now, this crowd appreciative of the big lead. A little comfortable, as long as the Hawks are not. Smith loses it, and they call a blocking foul. And it'll be against James Jones.
I thought Jones did a pretty good job of getting his body in front of him that time, picking up the offensive foul. Obviously, the officials felt he was still moving his feet. You see Atlanta now has gone with 3 guards on the floor, Bibby, Murray, and then playing Joe Johnson. He's the 3rd guard or small forward, however you want to look at it.
All right. Right now, we want to look at Ernie Johnson, or at least hear from him in our studios. That's exactly what it is, Ernie. Thank you very much. And no surprise with the Atlanta Hawks energy playing on their home court as Smith makes 1 out of 2 from the line. 12 of 14, though, from the stripe for the Hawks. Miami only 5 for 8. They have not gotten to the free throw line. Here is O'Neal facing the basket, and Horford with 2:10 to go. And Jermaine O'Neal misses. Beasley fighting for the loose ball. Chalmers comes up with it, and it's knocked away. Never had control, and it'll go over to Atlanta.
And what you see from Miami, a lot of the young players, we're talking about Chalmers and Beasley, right away they immediately turn to the official, look for a complaint. Hey, that was a foul. Hey, it was grabbed. Hey, you got to play through all that in the playoffs. They don't want to hear it, the officials. They're going to make you earn it.
By the way, that was only the first offensive rebound by the Heat in this game. And they're under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Here's Johnson defended by the bigger O'Neal. Flip Murray. Johnson with a quick shot, rushed it. And Johnson can't save it. Here's Dwayne Wade. And Wade made a great play to avoid the foul or the turnover, but did turn it over ultimately. And wide open with 3 is Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson with a 3-point basket, his first of the game. And a 19-point lead, another huge run by the Atlanta Hawks. 12-3 in the last 4+ minutes, but 10-1 in a shorter span than that. And Dwayne Wade, blocking foul is called against Mike Bibby with 1:08 remaining in the half.
Yeah, you see Mike Bibby with his head up, eyes up all the time. He finds Joe Johnson in the deep right-hand corner. Bibby quietly has done an outstanding job for Atlanta. Only 3 field goal attempts for Bibby. He's 2 out of 3 from the floor. Only 5 points, but he has 6 assists. He's made excellent decisions with the basketball.
And Joe Johnson is the 3rd Atlanta Hawk to hit the double-figure mark in this first half, and Dwayne Wade will go to the free throw line. Wade only 1 for 2 to this point from the stripe.
I thought Eric Spoelstra made a very prophetic statement to us before the game when we asked him about this series and what it means and the playoffs and all that. He said Atlanta knows from last year. They were there. For our guys, we're still coming together. This is going to be a learning experience for a lot of them.
There you're looking at the defense of the Atlanta Hawks and what they've done in the regular season against the Heat, and tonight 40% shooting for Miami. And Dwayne Wade 1 out of 2, really frustrated. He's also committed 6 turnovers, by the way. So this is not going to get to the highlight reel for the Miami Heat. This first half, under a minute remaining. Josh Smith defended by Haslam, who has 2 fouls already. And up and under. And Haslam had it and lost it. It's been that kind of a first half for Miami.
Yeah, but you know that little move that Josh Smith just made, there's the growth process, because a year ago he wouldn't have made the up and under move. He would just tried to jump up over the top. That time he saddled to the middle of the floor, showed the ball, stepped underneath, just happened to miss the shot.
And a timeout with under a minute remaining. Atlanta Hawks way in front. Hearing the coaches during timeout.
What we saw is both teams, everybody on the team that's dressed in uniform, assistant coaches for both teams out on the floor huddling. Either there were some very choice words being said, or the fact that the coaches are having a very hard time communicating when they're sitting down in the seats there because of the crowd right behind them. But they both coaches brought their teams out and talked to them in a big mass huddle.
Joe Johnson going up and following up and getting the basket is Horford. And a delay of the game warning called against the Atlanta Hawks. Horford getting the basket and then interfering with the Heat ability to get the ball inbounds. But it is a 20-point lead right now. And 35 seconds remain in the half.
How about the pressure? Atlanta extending its defense, trying to make it very hard for Miami to get the ball in bounds. They're taking the man off the ball, playing 3 against 2, face guarding, daring Miami to throw it over the top.
Atlanta Hawks couldn't ask for a better scenario for the first half of game number 1 of this series, shooting 53% of the field, holding the Heat to 40%, and trailing only once on the opening basket by Dwayne Wade. And there's the pressure that Mike was talking about. And as he mentioned, Dwayne Wade handling the ball a good deal of the time. 10-second differential, shot clock and game clock, and Haslam, well-designed play, a tap from O'Neal, getting the basket.
It was almost like perfect execution. If you drew it up, that's how it was going to look. Take the double team, hit the man in the middle, turn and look opposite, you'll find the teammate open.
So now the final seconds of this first half. And the Atlanta Hawks with Ronald Flip Murray feeding it off, and the basket by Al Horford. And Dwayne Wade with the heave, and that'll do it. And it's disappointing first half for both Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat, but the Atlanta Hawks coming out strong and showing why the home court advantage means so much in the 4 and 5 matchup. A 20-point lead for the Hawks, and Josh Smith, the hometown boy, having a great game with Cheryl Miller.
Well, Josh, obviously home court does mean a lot, but you know what? We've seen already in the last couple of games of people, not having home court and losing. How much did you guys want to come out and set the tone?
We wanted to set the tone right away. Let them understand that we got the home court advantage and we're going to take advantage of it. I was watching the games yesterday and I saw how many home teams lost, and we didn't want to be one of those victims. So we had to come out and play hard and establish ourselves early.
I mean, you playing above the rim is nothing new, but you got to describe those last couple of dunks because you and Mike Bibby are on the same page.
Well, definitely adrenaline is rushing in my body, and he said, I don't know how you caught that one when I ducked it backwards, but I'm just trying to run the floor, get easy points for our team, and get the momentum on the defensive end so we can get working on the defensive end.
All right, thanks for your time.
All right, thanks.
Our score here at halftime, it's the Hawks 59, the Heat 39, and we'll be sending it to our Atlanta studios, which is here in Atlanta with Ernie Kinney, Charles, and C. Wells. Stay with us.
59-39, Miami still having trouble scoring points against the Atlanta Hawks as they had all year. Dick Stockton and Mike Fratello. And there's no question Dwayne Wade is pressing, not getting much support from his team, but as the great Red Auerbach said, it's not solitaire. So the Atlanta Hawks largely responsible for what we've seen.
You've seen a smothering Atlanta Hawks defense tonight. From the beginning of the game, they paid very, very special attention to Dwayne Wade, trying not to allow him to get to the front of the rim. You see their transition defense. Bibby gets into the picture with a block shot. Horford has protected the basket all night. As a result of their shot blocking ability, they've been able to get out and get some easy baskets. As a result of that, only 40% shooting for the Miami Heat.
And it's time for the game summary brought to you by Dos Equis, and there are the numbers strongly favoring the Atlanta Hawks. And you can see the free throw disparity, points in the paint, you name it, the Hawks have had it.
Only 2 fast break points for Miami, and the three-point line has failed them up to this point, just 3 of 13. So perhaps they've gotten the first 24 minutes out of the way for these young guys who are going through their first playoff experience, and now they'll settle in a little bit.
They were outscored by the Hawks 35-18. And there is Joe Johnson double team. Al Horford. 4 players in double figures for Atlanta in the first half. Here's Bibby. Started the game with a 3. Starts the second half with a 3-pointer.
Mentioned that Michael Bibby played a very smart first half. Did not try to overexert himself as far as being too aggressive offensively. He got his teammates involved. He made good decisions with the basketball.
Chalmers at the point with Haslam, O'Neal, James Jones, and Dwayne Wade. Here is Wade, and the double team on him has to give it up. That's where the support has to come in. And the shot clock violation turns it over to the Atlanta Hawks. Right now, let's take a look at the game strategy presented by World of Warcraft.
So if you're Miami and you're saying, okay, what do we have to change here in the second half as far as our game plan goes? One, they've got to hit the offensive boards better. Only 1 offensive rebound. Somebody else has to step up. The entire bench group, only 4 points out of them. And then minimize your turnovers because you had 12 in the first half, which led to 18 points for Atlanta. They can change those things. They got a chance.
Well, they turned it over here, but so did the Atlanta Hawks. So, Mike, the Heat have the ball again. I want to remember the Hawks were blown out in Boston the first 2 games of the series last year, came back to win the next 2 in Atlanta. And there's no fear for these young players. Eric Spoelstra quick to tell us that before the game. Here is Haslam working against Joe Johnson, and Johnson committing the foul.
Yeah, Joe Johnson has great toughness. He has great strength, but that time Haslam got him back to the point where he knew he was too close to the rim, so he tried to get Haslam on the way up with a strip. Instead, he fouled.
And right now, let's check in with Cheryl Miller.
Well, guys, assistant coach Bob McAdoo told me that bottom line, first half, they just lost their composure. He said we settled for way too many jumpers instead of moving the ball around and finding our second, third, and fourth option. But he did say, Cheryl, our guys are encouraged by what Philadelphia was able to overcome in Orlando. They were down big, but were able to pull up the win. We have to take it 1 possession at a time.
And this is a long series, Cheryl, no question about that. And Bob McAdoo, one of the great scorers in NBA history and a great star at the University of North Carolina, longtime assistant for the Heat. Marvin Williams, who got off to a hot start with 7 points in the first quarter. Johnson, right now the big man, O'Neal on him. And there's Josh Smith stepping back and short with the 3, but Joe Johnson lays it in.
I'm not sure that Smith didn't shuffle both feet as he got behind the three-point line. It looked to me like he caught it, shuffled both feet back to make sure he's behind the line, and then took the shot.
So a 23-point lead. And Johnson committing his second foul here in the third quarter now with 3 in the game. No other player has 2 personals for the Hawks.
So after that last score by Miami, we saw Chalmers pick up Bibby full court, and that's what I thought they'd come out and do from the beginning of the game. Try and put pressure on Bibby, make him work the entire length of the floor, try and set a tone defensively where they would be very aggressive.
And despite all that, Mike Bibby is the only player not to score in double figures for the Hawks in the first half. So there are threats all over the floor. And we'll have another Atlanta foul. That'll be on Maurice Evans. Neither team has an exceptionally deep bench in this series. It'll be Beasley, of course, who came in early for the Heat in the first half, and Flip Murray, the big weapon off the bench for the Hawks. O'Neal, 9 seconds. Chalmers for 3. O'Neal getting the offensive rebound, and out of bounds. Lost it, and it was knocked away by the Hawks.
So while O'Neal is worrying about Horford blocking the shot from behind, you've got the smaller people down digging low trying to strip him.
Jones will inbound. James Jones started only 1 game of the regular season, started tonight's contest. 2.5 gone by, third quarter. He's trying to get it together, but the Atlanta Hawks, very athletic and very tough. Jumper by Haslam doesn't go. Atlanta playing with a world of confidence and assurance. got a big margin here. And Horford putting the ball on the floor. Good deal. And driving in, drawing the foul is Marvin Williams.
Horford had a tough time finding the handle on that one, but when he finally got a hold of it, he winds up throwing a little backdoor bounce pass for an assist to Marvin Williams. Watch the big man trying to find this handle. He kind of lose. Right, let me get it back again before they strip it. Now back cut by Williams. Nice bounce pass by Horford.
James Jones committing the personal foul. And here is Marvin Williams. Second player taken in the draft back in 05 in his 4th year out of the University of North Carolina. Game 2 of this series will be Wednesday night back here at the Phillips Arena. And then, of course, the series will shift to games 3 in Miami Saturday and Monday night. 1 out of 2. They missed both, did Williams, and it's still a 13-point game. And the turnover.
That foul is offensive.
3-second violation against O'Neal.
I mentioned a while ago how Marvin Williams spent the offseason. There's a man, Mark Price, right there, who was a great player with the Cleveland Cavaliers for so many years and came out of Georgia Tech, as we know, and is the shooting coach for the Atlanta Hawks. Spends a lot of time with this group. They were a very poor free throw shooting team in the past. Mark has really worked with them and improved them. And Marvin Williams, one of his pet projects, trying to increase the range on Marvin Williams' shot.
Bibby with a low pass to Horford, and out of the pack comes Chalmers. Mario Chalmers with the layup. So the Heat, precious few fast break baskets because not getting the turnovers, got one there. And there is Josh Smith, and this will roll through. So Josh Smith now with 19 points. And the Atlanta Hawks remain in control, 66-43. Dwayne Wade, 17 points, the only Heat player in double figures, and Jones hits a 3. That's why Spoelstra wanted him in the lineup, and now they change it to a 2-point field goal.
But you know what, Dick, if you're going to put a shooter into the lineup, you got to get shots for him. It's only his 2nd field goal attempt of the night.
Horford hitting from outside. Horford now with 12.
Miami's figured out that just exchanging baskets is not going to get it done from here. They need to get some stops, get themselves a little 7-0, 8-0 roll to get them back in the game.
Jermaine O'Neal hit that last jumper in the lane, and that's the kind of runs that the Atlanta Hawks enjoyed in the first half. Several 7-0 runs, 12-1 at one point. And he ran off some good rallies there. Marvin Williams with the air ball.
Mark Price did not work with him on that shot. That's not one of the ones. That's spot on the floor. No.
Dwayne Wade, who has yet to take a shot here in this third quarter, commits his 7th turnover of the game and now gets one back. So Wade gets the ball back. So Wade with 7 turnovers. 8 was his high during the regular year, and one time had 9 turnovers in the playoffs. Hasn't been himself, but you know, before it's all over, Dwayne Wade will be the great star that he is. And O'Neal barely stayed in bounds and then loses the ball. And the foul called against Jones. So right now you'd have to say nothing has really changed for the Miami Heat so far in this third quarter.
No, the frustration shows on their faces. They're having a tough time deciding when it's time to shoot, when it's time to pass, and the resulting turnovers aren't helping their cause.
21-point lead by the Hawks, 6:45 remaining in the third. We'll be right back. So the Atlanta Hawks, and I think the crowd now has settled in. You know, once the excitement of trying to get ahead of the Heat have passed, they're now just sitting and watching what has been a surgically impressive game by the Hawks, Mike.
So you're saying the crowd wants to get on to game 2 already. They've already finished game 1 in their minds. They don't realize there's a lot of time left in this basketball game.
They don't. The players, though. Here's Horford, and that'll go through. So Horford now with 14 points on 5 for 7 shooting. 23-point lead by Atlanta. 6:20 to go third.
Seems like every roll for Atlanta goes in the basket, and for Miami, it rolls out the other way.
Wade turns it over again as Bibby leaves it for Joe Johnson. Firing over Haslam and hits. So the beat goes on for the Atlanta Hawks. 72-47. 6 minutes gone by. Heat have turned it over 5 times in the quarter. And Dwayne Wade yet to take a shot here in this third. And into the game, Joel Anthony, second year out of UNLV. James Jones hitting the jumper. So Jones perhaps finding the range, has 9 points.
Atlanta so concerned about Jones's range and trying to chase him off the three-point line. If he just shows the ball, they fly past him, then he can step in and get an 18, 20-foot shot whenever he wants.
Here is Bibby with a runner. Couldn't have been a pass, claiming he was hit when he went up with it.
Of course, don't they always claim that when it's 2 feet short?
Chalmers misses a 2. They never say, I was not hit. I just put up a bad pass.
Yeah.
Or a shot. Johnson guarded by Wade. Wade taps it in the air, and Chalmers gets it back to Wade. Johnson is back there and knocks the ball away. Now here's Joe Johnson, who has 3 personal fouls and who was willing to go and challenge on that play.
Joe Johnson, always known as one of your better defensive players in the league. He started on Wade at the beginning of the evening. No fear on Joe Johnson's part of winding up with too many personal fouls early on. He challenges Wade at the defensive end.
So Jones inbounding to Chalmers. Chalmers with 8 points in the game. He has the most points other than Dwayne Wade, who has 17. Missed the 3. Anthony getting the rebound. Hawks very pesky with deflections, and they've resulted in considerable steals so far in this game. They're going to call Bibby with the push. That'll be 2 on Bibby. Flip Murray will check into the game for the Atlanta Hawks. Murray with 2 points off the bench. And going out will be Bibby. So it's defensively Evans, Johnson, Horford, Smith, and Murray. Good ball movement. Jones, not that time. Ball batted away into the hands of Maurice Evans. Johnson working against Chalmers. Good defense. Chalmers very impressive defensively as the rookie, but the Heat foul. And let's see if they get Beasley for it. And it'll be on Chalmers. So it'll be his first personal foul. Long night for Eric Spoelstra. 38 years old, the youngest head coach in the NBA. Made great strides in his first year for this Miami Heat team. Double team on Johnson. Wade is guarding Evans, going to the hoop. And Josh Smith slams it through. Good follow-up by Josh Smith, who now has 21 points, leading scorer. And there you see the Hawks 6-0 edge over the Heat. Second chance point. And once again a timeout Miami.
Sometimes when you wind up double teaming a low post man, you can't get back in your rotations to get a body on the guy in particular, Josh Smith, who comes in from the lower part of your screen.
Of course, made it apparent he's played our worst basketball against the Hawks this year, and they've got to add this game to their performance. Here is Beasley going up with a reverse layup and gets the hoop. Beasley now with 6 points on 3 for 9 shooting, but he does lead the Heat with 6 rebounds.
Cook back on the floor now for Miami, trying to get a little more perimeter shooting. So you have Cook as a 3-point shooter, Jones as a 3-point shooter, Wade out there to create.
Here's Joe Johnson. Tries to bank it in, and Anthony getting the rebound. Of course, the Heat were hoping for a lot of threes to spread the defense. They started 3 for 5 for long-range baskets, 0 for 10 since. So they have not been able to convert 3-point baskets. Here's Beasley again. So 2 pretty moves to the basket in succession for Michael Beasley.
And Beasley winds up with Smith guarding him, where Smith has to move his feet, and Beasley has the ability to put it on the floor more than just one dribble, so he's beaten twice off the dribble.
Hawks up by 21. Flip Murray Working against Daquan Cook. Here is Crawford. And Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade has yet to take a shot here in the second half. And we have 2:20 to go in the third, but a reverse lay-in by Daquan Cook. So 3 straight baskets, all lay-ins by the Miami Heat going inside, not outside, and the 6-0 run forces Mike Woodson to want to talk it over.
Yeah, Mike Woodson doesn't like the energy that he sees right now. For Miami right now, James Jones came down and grabbed his back, and that was the back that had bothered him. You see Daquan Cook reverse up on the other side with his left hand, so it's been 3 straight dribble penetrations, 2 by Beasley, 1 by Cook to take advantage of him.
And we'll be back. Timeout call. 2:18 remaining in the third. As you know, the NBA is dedicating these playoffs to Chuck Daly, a great coach who has won a couple of championships and battling cancer, and a great friend to many of us, and that's why people are wearing CD, and it's really the coaches who are doing it. And you talk to him a good deal almost every day. We had a chance to visit him up at Tequesta, and during the NCAA tournament, he still kept one eye on the Pistons against the Miami Heat. Still coaching from bedside, Chuck Daly.
Chuck Daly, one of my all-time favorite people, a friend, a guy you could turn to if you're a coach and ask a question. He's going to be very honest with you. And this is just a symbol from the coaches that they understand the battle they're involved with as far as the playoffs go. They have a lot of passion about it. They want Chuck Daly to have the same type of passion in battling what he's going through right now. And they're all wishing him, obviously, the very best. Everyone's prayers are with Chuck and his family.
Zaza Pachulia gets the lay-in. Dwayne Wade with his first shot of the second half, and it comes with 1:44 to go in the third quarter, and he makes the field goal. He has 19 points.
You know, Dick, the premier high school basketball camp in the country for years, maybe 40 years, has been 5-star basketball camp, and I found out Chuck Daly delivered the first lecture at that camp ever back in 1966. Vic Bubas, the head coach at Duke at the time, was supposed to show up. He couldn't make it. He sent his #1 assistant. It happened to be a guy named Chuck Daly who delivered the first speech at 5-star basketball camp.
That was Duke University, and there's Ron Rothstein, who is the first head coach for the expansion Miami Heat. And of course, Chuck Daly was an assistant coach. Hubie Brown was on that same staff.
And Ronnie Rothstein was Chuck Daly's assistant up in Detroit with the Pistons. Ronnie went to the finals with Chuck on that Detroit team. So Ronnie's been a very, very, very good basketball man for many, many years in the NBA, both as assistant and head coach.
And of course, Chuck also a broadcaster for TNT for many years. So paying homage to a distinguished basketball figure and a great guy. Dwayne Wade backing up, misses the three-point attempt. Rebound by Josh Smith. 19-point advantage by the Atlanta Hawks as we get to a minute remaining in the third quarter. Dick Stockton, Mike Fratello, Cheryl Miller with you. And there is Evans. Will fire up a 3 over Jones. And Pachulia winds up with it and has his shot blocked inside by Anthony. But the Hawks retain possession, under a minute remaining. The Heat have been held to only 57 points. Crawford with 4 on the clock. With a move. Pachulia with another offensive rebound. And now the Hawks can essentially play for the last shot of the quarter.
Yeah, well, you see that Atlanta is bigger and stronger on the floor right now with the matchups. You've got Beasley playing the 4 and Jones at 3, so they're not a good, strong rebounding team.
8-3 edge for the Hawks on the offensive glass tonight. Flip Murray against Cook. And the rebound by Anthony. And the final seconds of this third quarter, and the Heat can't get the shot off in time.
Hawks fans, make some noise!
So Dwayne Wade, been a long night for Wade and all the Heat. There you had 17 points on 7 of 15 shooting, only 2 points in the third quarter. That is the end of the third quarter. The Hawks way in front of the Heat, 76-57.
Coach, for one moment, I thought that Dwayne Wade was going to put up shots in the third quarter. What did you tell your guys as far as defensively trying to focus on?
Well, we're still trying to just build a wall and be patient about our defense and not let them get a lot of play at the rim. You know, they had a better third quarter. You know, we got lax in the last 5 minutes, so we got to pick it up in this fourth quarter.
What would you like to see from your team head into the fourth? Because like you said, you guys got lax and you've had a tendency at times to give up big leads.
Well, the thing is, playoff basketball is made of runs, and they made a run in the third. We held pack. We just got to come back in the fourth quarter and start doing the things that we did to get us the lead in the first and second quarter.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Kind of scary when the leading coach up by 19 says we got to pick it up in the fourth quarter, and we got to come back in the fourth quarter when they were outscored by only 1. We have a foul, no basket there on Flip Murray, his second.
Both of these teams, Dick, during the regular season were right next to each other in the standings as far as points that they scored, both just at 98 points per game. But if you're Mike Woodson, you hold the Heat to 21, 18, and 18 for the first 3 quarters, 57 points. Outstanding job.
And only 82 did they average during the regular year. Beasley loses the ball on the drive, and there is Flip Murray, and it's rejected by Joel Anthony. Anthony has looked pretty good since he's come in the game, playing with a lot of energy in his own right. First minute of this fourth quarter. And Murray defended by Daquan Cook. So it's Johnson, Smith, Murray, Pachulia, and Evans. 3-point shot. And the Heat get the ball.
Remember, Anthony did start 28 games this season for Miami when they were going through that adjustment period, trying to figure out who they were as a team. And Wade facing up straight in the middle of the floor misses that jumper. So it's not like Anthony hasn't been there before. They count on him to play defense, block shots, and then high energy to get them second shot opportunity on the offensive boards.
Joel Anthony, native of Montreal, Canada. Chalmers defending against Johnson. Good passing by the Hawks, and culminating was Zaza Pachulia with another layup. So Zaza Pachulia now with 6 points, and the Hawks in front 78-57. Biggest lead was 25 for Atlanta, and Pachulia called for the foul on Chalmers.
I can look at some of the terrific passing, a little back pick flare, and then drive, make the big man step up. Interior passing that time. Murray finds Pachulia, knows exactly where he is. Pachulia catches and finishes before the defense can cut him off.
Mike Bibby checks back into the game, replacing Maurice Evans. Bibby has scored 8 points, but has hit both of his 3-point shots. And Dwayne Wade inside, and then Beasley fighting. Beasley has had a couple of pretty good inside baskets, checking to see if he was cut with the hit on the face. Bibby with the fall away from the baseline comes back. So Bibby now with 10 points, and all 5 starters now in double figures for the Hawks.
Remember, Miami's down to 21 points, and Bibby has just been quiet the entire evening. Okay, just every once in a while, faces up, hits a jump shot, goes down the other end of the floor. Not really trying to take over the game because he doesn't have to right now.
And the veteran of so many playoff campaigns, Daquan Cook with the air ball, 3-point drive from the corner. Learning experience for that man too, Eric Spoelstra. And it's going to be a very interesting day off for the Miami Heat. But those are the adjustments that teams have to do between games. And in fact, it was Spoelstra who said that my young player is not afraid. Now, you were a coach. What's it like in a first game for a head coach in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because that statement, one thing my young guys aren't afraid that Eric Spoelstra made to us. I had a young group when I was in Cleveland. We started 3 rookies. It was Brevin Knight, Derek Anderson, Cedric Henderson, Zadrunas Ilgauskas, the 4 rookies on that team. 3 of them started, 1 came off the bench. And I remember going to the playoffs right before the first game. I was talking about the intensity level picking up, and they looked at me and said, Coach, don't worry about it. We've been in big games. You know, we all been to the NCAA tournament. I said, oh, yeah? We were down 40 in the first game to Indiana in game number 1. At the end of the game, I said, well, how were those big games you guys played in the NCAA?
Beasley, by the way, did have blood on his lip, and they're tending to it right now. So Eric Spoelstra, along with Michael Curry, Tony DeLeo of the 76ers, who won tonight, and Vinny Del Negro, who won. We have 3 winners right there in their first year as head coach.
Yeah, and going back to that story, Dick, in game 2, with about 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, that same team of mine was up 18 points on Indiana in game 2. So you can turn it around quickly. They had an understanding. They got a taste of what it was all about. They stopped thinking that they were too good, okay, and got back to playing good basketball.
Yeah, they didn't just hang in there with their tail between their legs. They came back, and that's what teams and athletes today do. And there you see that Chalmers is limping at midcourt. So Mario Chalmers trying to walk it off out there. The foul was committed by Chalmers, his second.
You see Chalmers when he jams that left leg and ankle as he closes out on Bibby. That's where he turns it. That's why he's hobbling around.
Bibby to Smith. How many times have we seen that act tonight by the Atlanta Hawks on the alley-oop slam?
I think Mike Bibby is testing just how high Josh Smith can go to catch his lobs.
Beasley misses, and here comes the fast break for the Hawks, slowed down by Murray. Meanwhile, Bibby, we mentioned, hasn't scored a good deal tonight, but does have 9 assists, so he has set up the other Hawks in the lineup. 11th year for Mike Bibby. And the Hawks playing with a lot of swagger. And they started from the opening get-go. Bibby missing the three-point shot, and Wade comes down with it. And Wade with a turnaround. So nothing's working for Wade tonight. 8 for 18 from the field. 82 to 59. And really just getting back into it. Remember, he's been off for a week since that 55-point explosion against the Knicks on the 12th.
And also remember that I mentioned earlier, he had a 35-point game when Horford did not play for Atlanta. But other than that, his other 2 games with just 21 points in each of those games. And here he is at 19 right now.
And the barometer has been how many times he goes to the free throw line. He hasn't gone there tonight or in those 21-point games. Acrobatic play.
Well, Bibby has tested Smith the entire evening. He just keeps throwing the pass higher and higher. That one almost above the square in the backboard. Josh Smith still finds a way to come up with it and finish it.
Not heartbreaking for Mario Chalmers, however.
No, Chalmers hit that big jumper to tie it up. Poor John Calipari in Memphis went home with a very difficult loss.
Kansas won the national championship, and Chalmers guarded by Bibby. Here is Wayne Wade with the jumper, and it doesn't go. And Chalmers picking up the loose ball, going in and challenging Josh Smith, and it goes off the rim again.
That's one of those shots where you're hoping the whistle blows and you get fouled because you know you have no chance of getting it off against Josh Smith.
Wayne Wade now 8 for 21 and 19 points. The one of 2 players in double figures. Michael Beasley with 10, the other for the Heat. But here are the Hawks, and they're having a whirlwind game. Murray from the baseline, and the Hawks are fighting for the loose ball as if this game were tied.
You know, one thing Atlanta's done is really an excellent job of maintaining their spacing the entire night. They have got Miami scrambling all over to try and get to open shooters on the floor. A little bit of penetration, a kick-out pass. Their spacing has been terrific.
How about the Heat? 14 straight misses from three-point territory, and that was going to be their main asset. They hoped to combat the athleticism of the Hawks tonight. Johnson tries the 3, no basket, and an offensive foul is called by Scott Foster. And it's called on Pachulia, his 3rd. Wipes out the 3.
You see Pachulia moves to his right as the defender tries to run over the top to get to Joe Johnson. You can't move on that screen to stop the defender from closing out. So it was a good call by the official. But going out back to what you said about Miami's three-point shooting, you know, for the season, they were 22nd in the league. They shoot just under 36% from the three-point line. They averaged only 7 three-point makes per game. So it's not like they were a great three-point shooting team, but they've got to do it to try and keep Wade open.
Chris Quinn, a 3rd-year guard from Notre Dame, has checked in, replacing Chalmers. Beasley missing the short jumper, and the Hawks have it again. 6.5 to go in the game. It's 82 to 59 in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. Other than the 2-0 lead on Wade's stuff, the Hawks have led all the way. And the foul will be against the Heat. Meanwhile, Miami, struggling from threes, have hit only one of their last 12 shots from anywhere. And James Jones now with his 4th foul.
Dick, let me ask you a question. You know, a lot of times it comes down to how many weapons do you have?
Yes.
How many players can you turn to get you scores when you need to have them? We see the block shot there by Anthony. When you look at Miami's team, besides Wade, who else do you feel coming back in the next game could possibly wind up being a major contributor for Miami?
That's a good question, and that's where Beasley, a lot of the people saying Beasley should be in the starting lineup because he has that offensive possibility. There are other problems as far as where he plays, small forward or power forward. Mario Chalmers, O'Neal has given them only 5 points in the game, and we have the offensive foul called against Beasley, his third right there. So that is a good question. Do you have any answers to this?
No, because you see the difference is Miami has one guy in double-figure scoring. Atlanta has 5 players, okay, in double-figure scoring. I'm sorry, 2 players for Miami, 5 though for Atlanta. So they've got a lot of places they can turn for scores.
Miller will be at courtside, followed by Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai. And then, of course, Ernie, Kenny, and Charles in our studios, not very far from here, the Phillips Arena. Johnson picked up by Anthony. The trapping all over the place, and the pass off the hands of Horford. And getting hit with Beasley. He's having a rough night. Got hit in the face and now hit in the stomach.
You saw Miami a little more aggressive that time on the pick and roll. They trapped Joe Johnson coming off it, resulting turnover. Gave Miami an extra possession, and perhaps being a little more aggressive for them is the key to getting some easier shots.
Chris Quinn missed the last one. He 1 for 11 this quarter. In fact, in the last 8 minutes or so, they have only 1 score in the game, have not gone to the line, and 1 for 13 from the field. Talk about droughts.
Well, Eric Spoelstra has decided that right now what he's going to do is play a different bunch of guys. Wade is out, O'Neal is out. They will come back again this evening, and what will happen here is he'll look and experiment with defensively perhaps how they can play some of these plays. These veteran guys, Haslam sitting along the side of Wade there with O'Neal, talking over what they've got to do to come back in the next game.
22nd timeout called by Mike Woodson. So Eric Spoelstra seeing the Miami Heat again struggle against the Atlanta Hawks, and we'll see what game 2 will bring. I guess you brought up the great point. They've got to get points from someone other than Dwayne Wade. Well, log on to NBA.com to enter the Barkley Zone. Exclusive interviews, opinion, and analysis straight from the mouth of Charles Barkley, only on NBA.com.
I'm logging on. If Charles is saying it, I'm logging on to listen.
I never log off.
Oh, and you stay all the time? That's it?
All right. Let's go to Ernie Johnson, not far from here. Ernie.
With the home court edge, they will host New Orleans in the finale of our triple header coming up when you guys are finished at the Highlight Factory. Back to you.
I must be speaking loudly for Ernie to be able to hear me without the microphone. 9 on the shot clock for Horford. And again, Joel Anthony doing a good job against Horford defensively. Well, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about the Hawks and how they clamp their defense down when the good teams come in. Cavaliers, 10 points below what they do. Celtics, 7 below. Look what the Magic, about 7 points. Or 5. You added up.
Or
the
4.
Heat,
Or 4.
Or 4.
Somewhere in that area.
Yeah, but Miami only 59 points in this game, and we have 4:20 to go. So, where are you going to score? That's going to be the question for Eric Spoelstra. Ball knocked away by Cook. Murray still has it. Shot clock running down. Fires up a 3. And Jamario Moon, who had been a starter prior to his injury and did not start tonight's game, James Jones did at the small forward position, is in there now. Cook, short on the 3.
Ricky mentioned the next matchup coming up with New Orleans playing at Denver. This is a very different Denver Nugget team, one that committed much more to defense than they have been in the past. They have the leadership ability now of Chauncey Billups. And for New Orleans, this has been an up and down season for New Orleans. Coming off of last year, there were such high expectations. hit with the injuries, okay, particularly to Tyson Chandler. You know, he was the key to the offensive rebound, second shot opportunities. It's a changed team right now. Did not finish the season with the same energy as they had the year before.
And of course, the Nuggets with a great opportunity. And Mike Bibby is going to go out of the game. And a terrific game for Mike Bibby with 9 assists in the game. Murray will go out of the game as Speedy Claxton comes in, and both benches emptying. Solomon Jones, the big guy from South Florida in his 3rd year, has checked in as well. And there's Quinn with the miss. Mario West out of Georgia Tech in his 2nd year has come in as well. Pachulia remains in there. Evans, the most experienced of the Hawks in the game. Shooting over Anthony is Pachulia. Jones getting the rebound. And it comes down to the hands of Beasley. You know, you coached playoffs for so many years, and I broadcast them. Million playoff games, it seems. And always it appears that when you lose a game, it looks like you'll never win again. And when you win, it looks like you'll never lose. And we know that's not the case.
It happens to you during the course of the season as well as the playoffs. You see certain nights when your team is playing and you wonder, are we ever going to win another game in the NBA this season? And when you get to the playoffs, you face the opponent who seems to be so much superior to you. Or you go back to, as Evans hits a 2-pointer, you go back to your belief that, you know, it must have been a pretty good team because we made it. We're one of the 16 teams that made it to the playoffs. You got to get back to your basic beliefs, your basic fundamentals, what it's been all about to get you there. You just have to execute better sometimes, and you make minor adjustments along the way.
Quinn, this is the shot. The Heat have missed 16 of their last 17 shots from the field. Under 2 minutes to go in this game. And it's been total dominance by the Atlanta Hawks. And there is Maurice Evans knocking the ball away and getting the second chance. So Evans with 6, and 5 players in double figures, all the starters for the Atlanta Hawks, led by Josh Smith with 23. Beasley from the perimeter. And this is a walk in the park for the Atlanta Hawks tonight. They'll take a 1-0 lead, and you always wonder whether you get overconfident with a game like this.
I'm not sure that this Atlanta team is going to be one to come out overconfident because as Zaza Pachulia faces up, hits the bank shot. Mike Woodson, number 1, is a veteran of a lot of playoff games as an assistant coach before he got to the head coaching position. He's going to remind them he played in this league. He can talk from being there firsthand. And the other thing is they saw last year that if you give a team a chance, they'll come back against you. We see the 3-pointer that time by Moon. You give a team a chance, they'll come back against you. Atlanta did that to Boston. Okay, so they don't want to let up and have to end up worrying about Miami making a little move and coming back against them.
Julia with his second effort gets the lay. And of course, all the Miami Heat have done is lose a game. It's only 1-0, whatever the score is, whether it's 1 point in triple overtime or a blowout like this has been. And that's what Atlanta knows as well. And they got to protect home court. So Wednesday's game, huge, obviously. Here is Beasley. About a half a minute remaining in this game. New Orleans, Denver coming up next. Short on the shot was Daquan Cook. The low point total for the Heat this year, 68 points. When they were beaten at Portland, 106-68. So in game 1 of the playoffs, the Miami Heat will achieve their season's low in the scoring department. 2 on the shot clock. And shot clock violation. And for Dwayne Wade, game he'd like to forget, but he's back into action now, and you know you'll see a different Dwayne Wade. 19 points, 8 for 21 shooting, and 8 turnovers for Dwayne Wade. Beasley with 10, not much else, and a big night for the Hawks. Timeout, we'll be back. The upcoming national TV schedule, Houston, Portland on NBA TV Tuesday, 3 games on Friday on ESPN and ESPN2. 2 of them from the Eastern Conference. Sunday, ABC has a doubleheader. Boston, Chicago, Cleveland at Detroit. All times you see are Eastern times. And the 6.4. By the way, that timeout, you're wondering who would call a timeout with that much time remaining. That was the under 3-minute timeout, which you have to have. Miami with the lowest playoff game ever 64 points. So a low for the Heat and superb defense for the Hawks for Mike Fratello. And Cheryl Miller, Dick Stockton saying so long from Atlanta. Coming up next, it's the Hornets and the Nuggets. After a quick break, we'll take you to Marv Albert in Denver. So long, everybody.